For years, I thrived in the high-pressure business world, but the workaholic life finally caught up with me. I was 35, very overweight, in chronic pain with severe mobility issues, terrible diet, no exercise. My health was a complete wreck. Then I went to a gentle yoga class and felt truly relaxed. The stress just melted away. I went from a size 18 to a size 8. I stopped getting sick. Pain disappeared. I learned to open my heart and I felt happy for the first time in years. So I said goodbye to the business world and started teaching. Yoga doesn't have to be strenuous. The easiest movements can trigger major release of chronic symptoms, no matter your age.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hello, I'm Deborah Devine, and that was my story. My unhealthy lifestyle was taking a toll on my emotional health. I was experiencing anxiety, emotional outbursts, and even depression. These symptoms are also common for those suffering from PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. With gentle yoga, I was able to reduce tension and anxiety and restore balance to my nervous system. If you suffer from PTSD, it's important to get professional support, but today's gentle practice can also help you on your healing journey. We begin with a calming practice that grounds us, and then we transition into a series of movements that energize awareness of the lower extremities. We release the spine and the diaphragm before taking some active and passive twists. We end the practice with a soothing and restful Savasana. Do the whole series, or if you're busy, just 1 or 2 poses can help you find a little peace. Let's start the healing. Joining me today, Lori. Hi, Lori. Lori has had to deal with a childhood trauma, and she's also spent many years as a nurse in oncology and palliative care. And Leanne. Hi, Leanne. Leanne had a very serious car accident that's left her feeling very vulnerable. We're going to begin the practice with Viparita Karani, legs up the wall or on a chair. We come down onto our backs and we elevate the legs. We take the shoulder blades underneath the heart and down toward the waist, giving us a little bit more room in the upper chest. The feet come together for the first variation, Viparita Karani A. We take the heels and press them up to the sky one at a time, and then we point the toes. We're getting a little bit of movement into the ankles here, spreading the toes, which is also activating the plantar fascia. This fascia, connective tissue on the bottom soles of the feet. Now let's bring the soles of the feet together and take the knees out to the sides. And we can have the feet resting against the wall or against the chair seat. And then we just begin to rock the pelvis back and forth. This is a wonderful way to release tension out of the hips. And when we're going through very difficult emotions, the body just naturally starts to contract all the muscles around the hips and the shoulders. Now we'll come to butterfly the legs. So we'll move the knees in toward the midline and back again several times. We're releasing a lot of energy both in the front of the hips as well as in the sides and the back of the hips. We're going to let the feet rest here on the chair seat. We're going to begin to massage the jaws. We'll take the hands to the jaws and begin to circle the jaws around and very lightly massaging around underneath the bottom jaw and then around to the place where both jaws come together. Bring your fingers up a little bit higher to the temples. Massaging and continue to rock the jaw from side to side and around in circles. This is a wonderful way to continue to release the energy around the neck, around the jaws, and then let's come to the eyebrows. And we'll just very lightly massage the eyebrows from the outside of the eyebrows into the middle, and then from the middle, back out to the outside edges. Let's come back to the jaws now. Circling the jaws a few times one way and a few times in the opposite direction, and very lightly palpating all the areas around the jaws. Visualize light and spaciousness expanding in the areas that we're working on. And then sense that the out-breath is grounding all of that excess energy that we have in the face. If at any time you feel a yawn or a sigh or a deeper breath come over you, this is a sign of success in the practice. So keep that going. And then when we come back in a few moments, we will have more healing yoga for PTSD.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hi, my name is Lori, and I'm 43 years old. I'm a retired nurse that has had post-traumatic stress disorder since I was about 13 years old. Also from experiences working in oncology as well as palliative care. I've used yoga now for about 10 years to help deal with the stress, mostly related to not sleeping well at night and night terrors. So when I wake up in the middle of the night, I do a few moves and that helps settle me down so I can get back to sleep and get my rest.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we're using our gentle yoga practice to help us deal with symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Lori, what are some of the symptoms that you experience with PTSD?
I would say my biggest complaint would be difficulty sleeping and anxiety.
Well, these next poses are going to be really wonderful for helping us ground energy. We're coming into toe squats. And we're going to use a bolster or a blanket to support the knees. And then we've got our blocks on standby so that we can keep our balance. So the left knee is coming onto the bolster or the blanket. And the toes are turned under. So the toe pads are resting on the ground. And the right leg comes back now too. Just feel that stretch on the soles of the feet. When we're dealing with emotional energy, we want to ground it. So let's come back with the sit bones toward the ankles and really feel that wonderful stretch happening in the soles of the feet. Come back up, and we'll do this on the inhalation. And then we'll exhale, and we'll come back down. We're just going to move back and forth a few times and warm things up here. Stretching out through the front of the hips, and then turning the toes under a little bit more. And then we'll come back and rest on the ankles. We can count our breaths and see how long we can stay here before it becomes really uncomfortable. As soon as it feels like it's time to come out, we come up and we turn the toes underneath and just recover here. And after a few breath cycles, your toes and your feet will feel a lot better, and then we go back again. So a little bit at a time is better than a whole lot all at once. Coming back up. Now we're going to come into lunge. So we can come off of the bolster, and the left leg is coming forward. We've got these blocks here on standby so that we can keep our balance. The back leg is the anchor of the pose. So we energize the back leg and really feel connected to the floor through the front of the shin. Now go to the heel of the front foot and press down. Energize this whole front leg. We're going to take some very big breaths here. Long, slow, smooth, and complete out breaths, grounding your energy. And then feel that in-breath come up the front line of the spine and broaden you through the collarbones and the shoulder shelf. Exhale. Feel that breath come down the back line, taking the shoulder blades down. If you're feeling a little bit more flexible, turn the toe pads under of the back leg and begin to come up and press the back heel back. Feel that wonderful stretch on the front of the right hip. Try to keep the pelvis aligned so that the hip points are really more even. Let's come back down. And we're going to take the block onto the inside part of the foot. And we're going to point the toes over to 10 o'clock. We can lean forward a little bit and get a little bit more of a stretch on the front of the right hip. And then we'll lean onto the baby toe side of that left foot, really spreading the toes nice and wide, engaging all of these muscles in the femur. If you'd like to come down a little bit lower, you can always adjust your blocks. And if you feel really flexible, you don't even need to have blocks. And feel that wonderful stretch. It's so important to ground the excess energy that you feel coming up when you're having an emotional disturbance. When we have this excess energy and tension in the body, it can really be disturbing on the mind. So using the breath, getting out of the head and really moving awareness into the body and grounding that excess tension is absolutely fantastic. Let's come back up to the opposite side. Bring the knee back. And then switch sides. And the blocks are here also to help us keep a little bit higher in the front part of the body. When we're feeling emotionally upset, sometimes compressing the chest and the lungs can be very challenging. Feel this beautiful in-breath opening up and out in the upper part of the body. And then feel that grounding energy. The exhalation's coming down. Then turn the toe pads if you feel more comfortable and go for a more active stretch here. Please continue to enjoy these lunges. And when we come back in a few moments, we'll have more healing yoga for PTSD. Long, slow, smooth, and complete in and out breath.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hi, I'm Leanne, 51 years old. A few years ago, I suffered some trauma from a car accident, and it left me feeling very anxious and vulnerable. And I'm hoping that today I will learn a few yoga poses that will just help bring an inner peace and stability.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we're using our gentle yoga practice to help us deal with symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Leanne, how long ago was your accident, and what are some of the residual effects you're dealing with right now?
The accident was about 2 years ago, and I found that it left me very emotionally vulnerable, and my senses and nervous system were on overdrive. Even if I just hear a little noise in the house, I would just get very anxious and nervous. So that's what I found mostly was the lingering side effect.
Well, these next poses are going to be really wonderful for helping to calm our nervous system. We're coming into Prasarita Padottanasana, standing forward fold with wide legs, and we're going to be using blocks to help us keep the spine high. So the blocks are going to be coming into the front of the mat, and we're taking a wider stance. The heels are out, and the toes are coming in. So the outside edges of the feet are parallel to the outside edges of the mat. Ground here. Come back on the heels and feel the quadriceps activating. Feel yourself moving energy down on the out-breath. And then feel the in-breath lift everything on the front of the body. Broadening through the collarbones. Exhale, feel that energy coming down the back line, taking the shoulder blades down. Energize the legs. And then bend the knees, take the sit bones back, and let the pelvis come up and over as you reach forward for your blocks. Widen the blocks and let your head hang down. Shake your head, nod your head, and then begin to move the hips from side to side, using the breath to guide the movements. Long, slow, smooth, and complete in and out breaths, helping us ground excess energy, removing all of that long-held tension. Pressing down into the heels, down into the baby toe side of the feet. Then we'll come back to center, and we're going to move more energy and awareness and weight into the heels and lift the toes, spread them wide, and then plant them down. Take the sit bones up to the sky, but don't compromise the hamstrings. We'll take the hands on our knees and begin to walk our way up again. Bring the feet back to center and stand in Tadasana. Feel the effects of the pose. There's something really wonderful about Prasarita Padottanasana. We are going upside down, and that is shifting all of our body fluids. When we go upside down, our mind is calming. When we go upside down, we're really having a different relationship with gravity. We are moving a lot of lymph and a lot of blood, and that's creating a sense of refreshment. Standing forward fold with wide legs is an excellent pose to take if you're feeling anxious. Now we're going to come into a seated twist using a bolster, something to keep our hips a little bit higher than our knees. So if a bolster isn't handy, you can always just take a blanket or a block or a towel and roll it up. So we'll come with our knees pointing to the left and our toes pointing to the right. You can take your legs a little bit wider apart if that feels better. And make sure that your sit bones are grounded. So move the buttock flesh out of the way and feel secure. Now, we're going to take an in-breath and feel this lengthening on the front of the spine. The exhalation is going to take us in a spiral on the axis of the spine. Take your right hand onto your left knee and take your left hand onto the bolster as we open in this twist. Take the gaze over the left shoulder. Draw the shoulder blades down the back and broaden through the collarbones. Now we're going to come back to center. Just give ourselves a moment to feel what just happened there. And then we'll take the knees over to the opposite direction. Your legs may need to be in a different position on this side. We just do what feels best and accommodate the unique situation for both sides of the body. Rotating, left knee and left hand. Left hand comes to the right knee, right hand comes back behind you. Inhaling, lengthening. Exhaling, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. We'll take the gaze over the right shoulder and keep the eyes, let the eyes continue on. Come back and release. We're going to use the bolster to support us as we come down a little bit deeper into this rotation. The knees can be in mermaid. They can be a little bit wider apart with the shin resting on the inner arch of the foot, or they can be a little bit wider yet with the sole of the foot resting on the front of the leg. The bolster's right up close to the hip. We get nice and long on the in-breath. Exhaling, rotating. Inhaling, lengthening, and then exhaling, coming down. If your hip feels a little bit tight and uncomfortable, move it away from the short edge of the bolster. Please continue to enjoy this wonderful twist, and don't forget to do the other side. And when we come back in a few moments, we'll have some more healing yoga for PTSD.
Healing yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
PTSD can affect anyone. Almost 70% of people will be exposed to a traumatic event in their lifetime. Of those people, up to 20% will go on to develop PTSD. If you're experiencing PTSD symptoms, seek medical attention immediately.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we've been using our gentle yoga practice to help us deal with symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. We've had a very grounding practice. We worked with the feet and the legs to remove tension and ground that energy that makes us feel very emotional. We've also been wringing out the spine and wringing out the belly as well. And we also went upside down to change our relationship with gravity and calm and soothe the nervous system. We're going to be carrying on with that into Savasana. And we have a couple of different ways of taking Savasana today. We're going to be going into Crocodile with Leanne, and we're going to be elevating our legs with Lori. So with Crocodile, we're coming onto our belly. And we are supporting the legs, the lower legs, with some blankets. So your head can come here and your legs can come and rest the lower legs on this blanket. Wonderful. And then we stack the arms, the forearms. We'll stack the forearms and rest the forehead. And by doing this very nice bolster or blanket underneath the lower legs, it can help the low back. If we've got a lot of emotional stress going on, many times that shows up as pain in the lower back. So this is a wonderful way to calm and soothe your nervous system for the final pose. And with Lori, we're going to be using a bolster to support her knees, and her head is going to be resting on this blanket, and we're just going to reduce the height of the blanket so that her head and her neck can be a little bit more in alignment. Letting the legs come long, and then the bolster is just supporting underneath the knees and the bottom part of the upper legs. We want to shake the legs out so that there's no gripping in the hips. We take the shoulder blades down and in behind the heart. We take the arms out away from the side ribs so that the side ribs can open out and up. And we rest. Long, slow, smooth in-breath into the feet, into the legs. Breathing in light and spaciousness. Exhaling tension. Exhaling holding. Long, slow, smooth in-breath. Breathing in light and spaciousness. Exhaling tension. Letting the bottom jaw come away from the top jaw. Letting the eyes shrink and fall to the back of the eye sockets where they rest quietly behind the closed eyelids. Left eyebrow moves to the left. Right eyebrow moves to the right. The forehead comes back to the crown. Long, slow, Smooth in-breath fills the entire body with light, with spaciousness, openness. And we release with the out-breath the last remnants of tension, the last remnants of holding, the last remnants of any emotional upset. Please continue to enjoy Savasana for at least another 20 minutes. And we'll see you again next time on Healing Yoga. Namaste.